Hey folks, how's it going? Thanks for checking it out. I want to take a look at a plugin today that first time round, it wasn't that I really missed it. It was just that I wasn't really too bothered by it. And I've fallen into this trap a lot where I kind of put a lot of emphasis on plugins that I think are going to change everything, and then some of them just kind of pass me by. And this one is the Stellar Echo, the Echo Chorus from Slate Digital. I already have a load of these. I've got a load of different recreations of these, so I just said whatever. But I tried it today and I love it. It's got a special little feature on it that I think is kind of present in some of the other ones, but I never really gave the time of day until I opened this one, and it's something pretty cool. So let's check it out. So here it is, the Stellar Echo SD-201. So this is a recreation of the Roland, the Space Echo. It's got all the bells and whistles, all the tape going around and everything. But the thing that I want to really show you here is how this kind of just takes a guitar part from being relatively sterile and then makes it a little bit more exciting. And there's one control in here that is really super important. So let's just take a listen to the guitar part in question without the effect on. First of all, I'm just going to mute it and then I'll bring it in and you'll hear all the life it brings. But then with one more control, we can make it go up a few notches. Bring it in. Okay, so that in itself is cool. It's got that kind of liquid kind of feel to it. That's how I sort of replicate it, or how I kind of think of it, which is familiar. This is an echo, a delay, tapey kind of thing, and it's got that certain sound. But here's the thing. When you go to source over here, you can go between the input. So it's kind of listening to the input and then applying the reverb to the input. Or you can make it so that it is on the echo. So it's just got the echo feeding into the reverb. So the reverberated signal is only really being affected by the echo. Or you can go to both. Now, both is where it gets really interesting, but let's just scroll between them. Let's go to input first, then to echo, and then to both. And it just adds some harmonics and almost adds some other notes into the mix, which is fascinating. Just on a normal input. Hear that? That resonance. We can go one step further. It's just got this harmonic stuff at the top, which is really exciting, and it's really just adding kind of an extra layer to everything. Now, there's a reverb, the Tal Reverb 4, I think, which has got like a pitch shifter on it, and it adds the upper octave onto the reverb, which I've done a video on in the past. But that's great, by the way, it's cool. But this is something a little bit different. It's taking that space echo kind of sound and it's adding just these harmonics that are making it really rich and adding almost like a drone note over the top, which is really cool. And we can affect that if we go to our feedback, our repeat rate, and our echo level. So let's just do that and see if we can mold that a little bit. Really interesting. That's like a typical thing when you have delays. When you change that rate, it almost sounds like it's kind of pitch shifting because it's changing the rate at which the delay is happening. But if you do it when it's static, it's a little less intrusive. But it's the feedback really that's just going crazy. And if we bring that all the way up, we're going to get some really, well, as you'd expect, feedy, backy kind of tones. So I find this is suitable for anything that's kind of elongated, any kind of prangs, as I call them, you know, just on the guitar chords. If you have them on anything that's too kind of plucky, then it gets a little bit crazy. So let's just send this to that bus as well. This is more of a picky kind of thing. Like, it's got a sound and it's kind of cool, but with an effect like this, you don't want it to be too intrusive. You just want it to add just an extra kind of layer on the top. And that is exactly what this is doing. Let's take a listen to it in the mix and let's take it off completely. And then we'll bring it in. And it's just going to that both, the source on both. So we're adding those extra harmonics. We're bringing it all in at the same time. Without it, I kind of felt like that guitar part was a bit nothing and it didn't really add too much, but with that on, it adds this whole extra dimension, which is really interesting.
As days go by, I fear for the end of the world. Our lives so temperamental in the eyes of the killer. Hold tight, your time will come. Terrible man, you're in love with the thought of the future, but it burns. Hold tight, your time.
I just find that so interesting. It's almost like a sound design element, almost like adding a keyboard bed over the top, and it's just adding this harmonic richness and adding this new note into the mix, which just turns everything on its head and makes it so that guitar, previously it was a bit nothing, but now it really adds something. And as you change this mode selector, you'll notice as it goes all the way around to the left onto repeat, this source both, it just goes away because you've not got that reverb in there as well. So on numbers 5 to 11, we're changing which head on the kind of virtual tape it's sending the signal to, and the overall mix, the overall character, and the overall speed and general sound of it. So let's just flick through a few of those. Starting on 5, we'll go up to 11. Far gentler. To me, this is the one. And really the reverb is kind of governing what gives it that twanginess and the real resonance of that note. If we go from spring, we can go up to hall, chamber and plate and back to spring. You can notice how that kind of the tone of it just changes slightly. Spring is going to be the most resonant, but the others just add a different character to it. There you go. The Slate Digital Stellar Echo is almost like a sound design tool here, and when you bring it into the mix, it just makes something a bit more interesting. To me, it made it so that guitar stopped sitting in the background and kind of came to the forefront, and that's what plugins are all about for me in this kind of context. If it's an effects plugin, I want to hear it. I don't necessarily just want it to be there and I take it off, put it back on again, not much of a difference. I want to actually know what's going on. I want to be able to hear exactly what I'm doing, how I'm changing the sound. And this is a fine example of a plugin that really does that. So let me know if you're using this plugin, if you find it useful, and what context you're using it in, because I think it's really great. Thanks for checking it out. I'll see you again soon. Take care.